What's up, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Tug of More.
So glad that you're here. Just a conversation between two old buddies.
That's right.
We're just some old buddies. We've been friends for a minute. Been through a lot of life together.
And now we're old. What?
Yeah. No, I was about to say, I tried to listen to our last episode.
Okay.
You and I interrupt each other so aggressively that I wonder if it's hard for the hearers to even know what the junk we're saying.
Well, here's the problem.
Is we're going to keep doing it.
8 years of working together, 15 years of being friends. I don't really know how we change it now.
I don't know. I'm going to try to do better.
Okay, I will try also to do better.
Yeah, we're going to make it about 8 minutes.
I remember that years ago, Rachel pulled us in a room and told us, hey, you guys interrupt a lot. Everyone, all the people. And so I've gotten better at other people.
Yeah. But
you, I just know you forgive me and that you do it too. So who cares?
Well, it's because we're both locomotives, and so we're not going to get bowled over.
No.
You're not running me over.
I will
so you
win.
you can interrupt me, but I'm just going to continue to talk.
And I will keep talking as well. And eventually my words will get out also.
Okay, so we're going to work on getting better at that.
Maybe.
Here's what we are. Conversation between two friends.
That's right.
Who love each other enough to interrupt each other and not get offended.
That's true.
We actually don't even notice it until we listen to our recorded conversation.
And then later are like, dang it.
Okay, conversation between two friends.
Yeah. Where we are.
Where we
can
are.
say this part. Yeah.
Yeah. Where we want to be.
There's a fight, a tension, a struggle. That's the Tug of More.
That's the Tug of More.
Yeah.
When have you sat down with one of your best friends and had 100 conversations and videoed them?
Do you know what I found out?
No.
On my time hop? We started this. We launched this 3 years ago next week.
Look at that.
I saw an advertisement and it said well, I think when this will be airing, it'll be the week that it is. So I saw an ad I saw a post that I posted do you know what's coming? The tug is coming. I don't know, something ridiculous. And it was the advertisement. We were launching it.
Okay.
So it's good.
3 years, that's crazy.
Yeah, we've been talking to each other for we've been talking to each other a long time.
All right. What do we want to talk about? I like to have some fun banter at the top that we usually do.
Well,
we can talk about my boy Mark Driscoll.
Oh my word, you're going to talk about that?
I don't know. I mean, the internet is sounding off aggressively on these opinions.
But the thing about Mark Driscoll is that he's going to be provocative and aggressive and intense.
Yeah.
I mostly agree with most things he says. That's actually accurate. It's just the way he goes about it.
Yeah, and then poor John Lindell.
Yeah, poor John. But
people started straight booing that dude off the stage.
I felt bad, but apparently in the end they had a good conversation and everything was good. If you don't know what we're talking about, there was a conference.
There was a men's conference where they do all kind of crazy stuff. They got monster trucks, which I'm down with.
Yeah.
All the meat, I'm also down with.
Yes.
But then they started the conference with a man who took his shirt off.
Yeah.
And then climbed a pole.
While swallowing a sword.
Which all those things seem a little sexual to me.
Yeah. And
just a little. And so Mark comes out and he starts saying how the conference was introduced by the Jezebel spirit, a seductive spirit who climbed up an Asherah pole. Whoa. Not even sure that's
intense.
True. But you know what I noticed? So I went to Mark Driscoll's social media page last night, Instagram. And do you know what he just happens to be advertising all day? His new book on the Jezebel spirit.
Oh, well.
And so I'm like, is this just scandal to get book sales up?
I saw multiple people post stuff like that. Like, could it have been a publicity stunt? And people were aggressively, how dare you say that in the comments? And I'm like, we know. I just said that I posted an advertisement for my podcast 3 years ago. Don't you think that people who really know what they're doing with advertisement are going to do the right thing?
It's like that's what Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville do.
Hello.
They shoot fireworks out their butt crack or something so you'll go see their new movie.
It works.
Is this what John Lindell and
maybe
John Lindell's about to write a book on confrontation?
Yeah, exactly.
And Driscoll's about to write one on Jezebel.
There it is.
Which, by the way, Jezebel. We need to do an episode on Jezebel.
Have we never done one?
No. That's a straight up spiritual vibes.
We've done a lot of research and a lot of conversation.
We've battled
and a lot of prayer.
We've battled old Jezzy.
We should definitely do one.
And Ahab.
Yeah.
They're equally dangerous.
Yep.
Ahab's the one with the power.
Yeah.
Well, we just took a weird turn.
Yeah, we did. I'm like, well, that was light and fun at the top.
I got a new pair of pants.
I noticed that, actually.
I had 0, count them 0, blue jeans.
You had gray and
grays and blacks. That's all. And I was looking in my closet, realized I had 0 blue jeans.
That fit you now. You've had them.
Correct. That fit me now. I had to do a wardrobe exodus.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
so I had a pair of pants that I needed to return. So I went to Express. Oh, I'm mad. So I bought these pants at Express, and I go to return them at Express, and they give me less money than I originally bought them for. And so I'm arguing with the girl, and she's like 12.
Yeah,
right. So I'm arguing with this poor girl that works there.
I just work here.
So she calls the manager, and says, "Well, sir, let me have the manager come over." So the manager shows me on my receipt the purchase price and the return price. And so the minute you walk, it's like buying a new car, immediate depreciation. The minute you walk out the store with the pants, you lose $20.
How come?
I don't know.
Did you have a coupon that they spread across
No.
the purchase?
There's a new policy.
Oh, I don't like that.
That if you buy it and return it, it costs you.
Express?
You know why?
Why?
People be buying clothes, wearing them, and
Yeah,
keep
and
the
then
tag on and
return
return it.
Yeah.
And so Express got wise.
Yeah.
And so these pants, I was
Cost you
just gonna,
$20 more than they should have.
Dude, I'm mad.
Yeah, Express is the place that when I was in my early 20s told me that my thighs were disproportionately large for the rest of my body, and I was therefore insecure about my thighs to this day.
Wait a minute. Express is not the place.
Yeah, a girl
there was
at Express.
a insecure, angry, embittered woman that worked there.
At Express, but I always associate that with, yeah, that's the place where I have too big of thighs for. But I still buy their pants, whatever.
I can finally start wearing their clothes.
That's good.
Because I was in that XXL life, and you're just not finding stuff.
Yeah, but now your thighs are the right proportion.
There you go.
To the rest of your body.
If you're in a size over 38 pants, no dice.
Yeah, that seems to be true.
36s.
Good job.
I want 34s.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Won't you be very thin
This
then?
chair that we sit in, it's made of like
velour,
and so when you stand up, it shows your butt print. And every time I stand up, I'm like, dang, Tristan, you need to eat less.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
What are we talking about?
This is where I'm like, I should be interrupting you right now. I just don't know what to say to interrupt your ridiculousness. Okay, so today.
My favorite thing about talking about absurd stuff is this is the image I get in my mind is Rachel listens to our podcast every week.
Yeah.
And she usually does it while she's in the kitchen making the kids breakfast.
Yeah.
And so I'll come home from the gym and she's in the kitchen cracking
laughing
up.
At
laughing at what we're saying.
Whatever absurd thing we
Or
talk
I
about.
walk in trouble. I walk into the house.
Yeah, if you talk bad about her.
I'm currently in trouble because of something I said on here.
Well, it happens. It happens. But I don't know. What are we talking about today?
Well, 3 years.
Oh, yeah,
so we've been
3
doing
years.
this podcast for 3 years,
That's
which
right.
is kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy that we kept doing it.
Yeah,
for so
that we're
long.
still doing it.
We're still doing it. And we're going to keep doing it.
We're going to keep doing it. And so here's what we need to talk about is that I think sometimes you just have to admit what your strengths are.
Yes.
You ever gone to a job interview?
Yep.
And at a job interview, they always ask you, what are your greatest leadership weaknesses?
Yeah. Now I am the
then
one that gives the interviews. Thank God. I don't have to go to as many anymore as I used to.
Yes, that's
now
true.
I'm just asking the questions. But yeah, it's a typical job interview question. It's like, what do you feel like your greatest strength is? And what do you feel like your greatest weakness is?
And people are scared to say their greatest strengths, I think.
Yeah.
And I thought, all these young leaders that we get to lead with and interact with, I think sometimes they can be a little nervous to be confident about their strengths because they think it's arrogance.
Well, let me interrupt you, interject. Usually it's the people who are actually...
Good job, by the way.
People who are actually great at things are the ones who have a hard time telling their strengths. People who actually aren't that great at many things, who have a lot of ideas but don't ever actually get junk done, those are actually the people who are pretty good at telling what they think they're good at, but then they're not actually good. But what I found is, yes, people who are most likely on the tug team, people that are working hard, pushing into more, actually get junk done, they're not very good at it. Yeah, because I think we think it's arrogance.
Yeah.
But being confident is not the same thing as being arrogant. And yeah, you and I are not good at admitting often. We're really good at admitting what we suck at.
Yeah.
I'll give you a list right now of what I suck at, not what you suck at, what I suck at. Like, I'm good at that. But when it comes time to take a compliment or give myself a compliment, I'm not good at it. What? I got your mind thinking.
No, well, we can't say what it is, but we had somebody play a prank on us earlier today. And so it's just causing my brain.
It's absurd.
It's just causing my brain to still be in I got punked mode.
Yeah.
Which means I said a bunch of words to Whitney that I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I said all the stuff that I said.
Ridiculous.
I can't believe I said all the stuff that I said because of this person pranked us.
Anyway, go.
I don't know if I can.
No, why? Stop.
We might actually have to take a break. All right.
All right, go back.
All right, we're back. We just distracted ourselves. And Julia, can we cut that and just put some clips of us laughing in the middle?
Yeah, that's fine.
We distracted our own selves.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes as leaders, we have to take a minute to just focus on and believe what we're good at.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read years ago. I can't remember the name of the book, but it talked about the hedgehog, and the hedgehog just does what it's good at.
Okay.
Because the hedgehog is the one that rolls up in the ball.
Yeah. And it has like porcupine type things.
Yeah, porcupine things.
Yeah.
The hedgehog does not have big fangs.
Right.
It can't fly.
Yeah.
It doesn't run fast. It's just really good at what it does. It digs a little hole and it curls up in a ball and it does what it does. And the illustration about the hedgehog in the book was talking about like, know what you're good at.
Yeah.
And don't try to, the hedgehog's not trying to be a tiger. It's not trying to be a monkey and swing from trees.
Yeah.
It knows its strengths. And so for me, I remember when I read that, I had to take some time to identify, okay, what are my strengths?
Yeah.
Not what do I want my strengths to be.
Yeah, I think that's...
What are my, what was 12-year-old Trustin good at?
That I'm now better at.
That has always just been a part of my person that I'm now still good at. And when you can really understand those, it helps you be confident in those things.
Those people that we interview that think they're good at things, it's because they haven't taken the time to actually be aware of what they are good at. Mm-hmm. And it's an important part of I don't know what I said. It's an important piece of the conversation to say, what am I actually good at?
Yeah.
And then actually be willing to admit it. But also, what am I not good at? Because no, just because you want to be good at it, I think that doesn't mean that you are.
Yeah.
And so, we have to talk about it.
We spend so much time focusing on what we're bad at.
Yeah.
Right? And trying to improve these areas that we're bad at instead of admitting what we're naturally most gifted to do and then being confident and kind of declaring that's who we are and what we're good at. I just had lunch with a friend of mine who's a pastor. Breakfast. Had breakfast with a friend of mine who's a pastor, and he starts joking with me about all my props, about how I preach with all these props. And he says, "Man, I can't do it. I'm not a prop guy. I'm not, And he starts giving me all these reasons. He's nervous and the practice, and what if it doesn't go right, and he feels like he's faking with it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I feel the total opposite.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't have to sit and try to come up with props.
Right.
They just appear in my brain. Yeah. And I actually do less props than I would if I had an unlimited budget.
Yeah, to be able to do them.
Props.
Right.
But as I was talking with him, I started saying no, dude, you should do it. Try it. Hey, call me. I'll help you come up with some. But as I'm talking with him, I'm like, that's not what you should do.
Right.
Because if you already know this is not what I'm good at, I'm uncomfortable, then why waste your time?
Right.
Trying to become good at something that I'm good at.
Yeah, spend the time instead going, this is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So let me run in that lane. And I think that's because we're afraid that we'll come across arrogant, what we don't do sometimes is hone the craft, the gift that we already have because we're intimidated, insecure, whatever, to admit, you're right, I am actually good at this. And I think it starts with, for me, I have most recognized it by the way I receive compliments. I'm terrible at it. I don't do it well. And I've had to learn to receive it well. Sometimes when I'm receiving it, I have to be like, say thank you. Actually just hear what they're trying to tell you. But I had to identify in myself, oh, this is actually just an insecurity that I'll be misunderstood, an insecurity that I'll come across vain, whatever it is. And instead go, yes, thanks. I'm super grateful I get to. Yeah. Whatever it is that your giftings are. But if you don't do that, then what you said, you waste so much time trying all these other things. Why not just know who you are, know the lane that you're called to run in, and run in it the best that you can?
You just said the other piece about knowing the lane you're called in. So it's knowing what you're good at and then knowing what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And if you can figure out what am I naturally gifted to do? And I'm excited to do it. Well, then you're cooking, man.
Yeah.
Then you're ready to really advance and step into more in that area. It's like, I'm trying to think of something that if you love it, but you hate doing it, or if you're good at it,
right,
but you hate doing it, then that might not be what's best for you.
No, that's true. I mean, for me, I have like great administrative skills. And so in the beginning, there were things that I was like, well, I'm good at this, so I'll keep doing it. But then other people came along that were better and wiser at it and enjoyed it. And I needed to shift and give that over to them. And I think sometimes we hold on to things that we do okay because we're good at it, but don't enjoy it. And we let other people miss out on the greatness that they could actually run in the lane that they're called to, that they're passionate about, if we would just delegate it to them instead. Yeah. That's a huge piece.
I'm really good at cleaning and organizing things.
Yeah.
I can go into a dirty room and I can get it cleaned and organized and put back together. And so for years, I was doing that in the church. Every place I've ever been a pastor, youth pastor, whatever, storage rooms and trailers and shelving. I can see it and I can put it together, but I don't enjoy it.
Right.
It's like, I only do it because I feel like it has to get done, and I'm just forcing myself. But the whole time I'm kind of mad that I'm in there.
Yeah.
So I'm not passionate about it, but I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And so we have to have those two things.
Okay, talk about what you are good at and passionate about that you will admit out loud now, and then when you did admit it, how did it better your life?
I'm good at being. This is not a good answer. I'm good at just being who I am.
Yeah.
And like, I think that for a lot of seasons of life, I tried to fake it and be somebody else.
Yeah.
Or be a certain polished version. But when I just realized that I'm just kind of loud and fun and goofy and not real polished, but that I'm also super deep.
Yeah.
And real thoughtful and in touch with my feelings and emotions, and I'm also willing to be very confrontational, but in a real transparent way first. When I realized that about myself, it helped me just be me all over the place.
That's a great answer. It's not a bad answer at all.
Well, because I used to think that like humility and like transparency and like goofy fun don't go together. Like goofy, silly guys are clowns. And clowns, all you know them as is their clowniness. Right. They're jokes. They're riding a unicycle and they're juggling. You don't know their emotional, like real open rawness. But then I'm not academically smart, but I am very deep thinking about everything.
Yeah.
And it's like those things don't go together. Like I've never had a 4.0, so you would think that I'm not smart, but I'm extremely deep and analytical and like stretch thoughts wide to understand how they really relate in my brain.
No, it's really good.
And so like the quandary of who I am, I had to identify the quandary of who I am and then be comfortable in it.
Yeah, because if you don't, what you just said makes me think when you don't, then you are more willing to succumb to the insecurities of other people who say words that are negative over us, who speak out of their own places of insecurity. And instead of being willing to be like, no, that is who I am, and I'm confident in that, I think people get intimidated by people who know who they are. And so a lot of times in my life, I've found that people who treated me the worst were just people who were, intimidated by the gifting that I had. But if I didn't identify first who I was, be excited about it and happy about it, then I would just have succumbed to their thoughts and opinions about me, and I would have shrunk instead of being confident in and bold in who I am.
Because then those words can paint you into a box.
Yeah.
They paint you into a clown.
Right.
Not into a deep thinker.
Right.
And then you find yourself suppressing this one part of your gifting, your personality, to try to match what they think that you are. Yeah. But we're all a quandary. We're all like a big, what is the word when two things don't go together?
Dichotomy?
We're a dichotomy. We're all walking dichotomies.
Absolutely.
If we're honest.
Yeah, if we're real with ourselves.
About who we are.
Yeah. No, I think
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that me being willing to identify, like, for example, like I have a gift to draw out of people the things that they need to share, get off their chest.
Yeah.
I don't know, be vulnerable about, like, and it's not an intentional thing. It's just literally a gift from God that he's given me of like, hey, what's going on in your life? And they're willing to share it. But if I didn't identify that as the gift that God had given me, much of my life, I allowed the idea of just being a nosy person to be painted over me. And that's really not at all who I am. Like, I don't want to know the gossip. I don't really care about all of those things. Like, that's not why it's more about the person's heart and like helping them get to where they're going. But it's a gift that if I didn't identify it, I would have just put it away and not used it because of the words of other people, because
something bad was attached to it.
Because something negative was attached to it. I am loud and I am, blonde and short and all the things that make me kind of a mighty small force. But I instead allowed a lot of seasons of my life it to be painted as just like, a dumb, silly blonde girl who's, all kinds of negative words until I could go, nope, this is who God made me to be. And I'm excited and proud of it, of the gift of who he created me to be. I was hiding it away. And I think that's the part that if we want to step into all that God has for us, we have to be good with who we are. We have to identify it, and then we have to own it and be like, yes, like for you said it. Once you were like, no, I am a dichotomy of fun and goofy and super deep thinking, which makes me really smart. Then you were able to accept the God-given intelligence that he's given you and run with it fully. And until you do that, we're hiding away and we're minimizing the gifts that he's given us.
When we start to define ourselves based off of what we aren't, or based off of what somebody else said that we should be,
or our lack,
and we're not comfortable anywhere. We're not comfortable around anybody doing
in any room.
And so, like, I learned all that about myself, and I wanted to start being who I was, and I realized I'm not a good politician.
Right.
I'm not good at playing games because I'm a truth teller. And because I'm a truth teller and I have this blunt, kind of loud personality who goes maybe too deep, I can't play the game very well.
Yeah.
And I kept getting burned because I was failing at playing the game.
Right.
The political game. Now, this does not just mean like in politics. This means like in church environments. In life, I'm not good at politics. Because I say stuff and I get myself in trouble very quickly. Not trouble.
Well,
not acceptance.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but once I realized about myself that that's not a bad thing.
Right.
I just have to lean into my gifts. Well, then I need to remove myself from these areas that I need to play politics.
Right.
So don't go there.
Right.
If I'm going to fail there, because the only way to win there is to be who I'm not, then I have to just remove myself.
No, I think that's the thing is once you've identified who you are, if we're still trying to put ourselves in boxes we don't belong in, we're only going to keep getting hurt. It's what you said. You found yourself getting hurt, but in the end you realized, oh, this is self-inducing. I have to instead know who I am and then only run in those lanes. And I think that's the part like that for me has been like a really like lifelong struggle of like, I don't feel like I have a specific special set of skills. Like I am not a great singer, or I don't play a great instrument, or I don't have this perfect talent that I have honed in this craft that I've created. But once I knew the lanes that I was called to run in, then I just needed to give my full effort there instead of continuing to try to come up with. I was always trying to come up with, maybe I'll find my real talent that my niche, the thing that makes me so unique of anyone else. No, I am very specifically unique in the dichotomy giftings that God's given me. But now I just need to run there. Stop trying to run over here and over there, because that's where I wore myself out, I think, in trying to like fit into this box or this box. And it's exhausting, but then it steals from what we're created and called to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, listener, Tug team member, have you identified what you're good at?
Yeah.
Have you identified what you're naturally gifted in, your lanes of success are. Because if you haven't, then you need to spend some time identifying those.
Yeah.
And figuring that out. Because as a leader, you can then surround yourself with people that are better in those other areas. Like, more church staff is not just a bunch of mini Trustons.
Right.
Because if all we were was a bunch of mini Trustons, then we would only be good at a handful of things.
Right.
But I've surrounded myself with people that are way better at things than I am in areas that I'm not good at them. But until I can learn what I'm good at, I can't even identify what I need in people on the team.
Well, and it saves us a lot of heartache in the long run. Let's talk about it as it relates to the church that we're leading and the atmosphere and the culture that we've created. Because I think for a long time, we would joke and say, we don't really know what we're doing. When actually we knew exactly the culture that God had called us to create. And when people rejected it, we took it instead as we must be doing something wrong. And it took us a long time to instead go, actually, we're just called to do something totally different. And if that's not your vibe, if that's not the energy that you like in your life and in your church that you're looking for and all those things, then that's okay. But until we did that, we found ourselves getting hurt and feeling rejected all the time. And I think we were just talking about it today, that there is now an appreciation for the unique gifting that God has given us of who we are in the church that we are, in the culture that we are, in the team that we are. And it took us a long time to identify, I think, that we're actually great at this.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was just like an ethereal, we really want to create this thing. I hope it works out. But no, we've always been good at it and we've been running in it. But until we identify that, the people who didn't like it, it wasn't for them. We let their voice be too loud, maybe?
Well, because people that don't like what you're producing are comparing it to something that they liked better.
Yeah.
And so they would go to a church that did something that they liked a little bit better.
Yeah.
And they would tell us, well, we don't like what you're doing, but what they're doing is better. It's like, well, that's not who I am. That's not,
right.
I'm not good at doing that, or I'm not excited about doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember a guy, he said that his last pastor preached through every verse of the Bible, starting in Genesis. And like he was now
Everyone?
I mean, this is what he said.
Verse?
And so like preached through the Bible, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For that guy. You know, that's incredible that that's what God's called him to do. But I'm like, dude, I don't get excited about like spending years of my life in Leviticus.
Right.
I don't get excited about like not being able to get into New Testament stuff.
Right.
Like that would drive me crazy that I'm only in like this like super deep theological exposition of the scripture. And I'm like, I'm not sure that that's even what the world needs right now.
Right.
I'm not called to be a Bible college professor. I'm called to be a pastor to hurting people.
Yeah.
And so, but I had to identify like, okay, well, this is not what I'm good at or excited about. So I'm going to do what I'm good at and excited about.
But don't you find that once you do identify what you're excited about, what you're good at, all those things, now it makes it more exciting.
For sure.
It makes it more like, I'm excited to get up today and go do the thing that I know I'm actually really great at.
Yeah.
And win or lose, like even if I fail, at least I know, oh, I'm still really good at this. I'm still doing this thing that God's called me to do. I'm still running in my lane. I just might need to try it a little different this time. Like now understanding, oh yeah, this is who I am, what I'm good at, takes a whole nother pressure off of like showing up each day and giving it your best effort. At least for me, that's how I feel.
No, it's 100% true. You can give it effort when you know that you're good at it. So I think that we just have to identify where have we been winning?
Yeah.
Like,
this is good.
What, when you were a kid, were you good at? Or what did you used to get in trouble for?
That's great.
Because what you used to get in trouble for might actually hide your gift.
Yeah.
It might hide the thing that you're most blessed with.
Yeah.
I would get in trouble for talking too much.
Right.
I would get in trouble for getting groups of people around me and distracting what the teacher was doing. So instead of people paying attention to the teacher, they're paying attention to me. And I've got a whole other activity going in the classroom and I'm getting kicked off every bus I ever rode. I'm getting in trouble and I've got more detentions than you can imagine all over the place. Now, I'm not in trouble because I'm selling drugs. I'm in trouble because I'm selling laughs.
Right.
Because I'm having moments. And like the system tried to crush that out of me.
Yeah.
Through detention and through sit up and act right and put on a tie and tuck in your shirt, right? And it tried to crush this creative, fun party starter out of me a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you realize, like, wait, that's actually what I'm gifted to do.
It's really good.
Then it helps you have events called house party.
Yeah. Exactly, because I think people might be
It helps
sitting...
you put a yellow Jeep in the church lobby.
Yes.
It helps you have a goofy prop or wear a costume or take your shoes off while you're preaching.
Right.
It makes that, oh, this is just who I am.
Yeah. Because I think there could be people listening who are like, I don't really know how to identify what I'm good at. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to identify the giftings that I have. I don't know how to really differentiate that from what I've just been doing or the job I've been doing or the special set of skills I acquired in college or whatever. But what you just said is so good. Like, who were you at 7? Mm-hmm. Who were you at 12? Like, what were the things that are just naturally in you that now you can pull out and understand these are gifts that you can use, that you can admit that you're great at. Yeah.
Can we talk about some actual people? You think it's okay without
Sure.
their permission? They won't care. Let's talk about Freddie.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about Freddie.
So Freddie's a guy in a church. What's up, Freddie? Shout out. Freddie's a guy. He is a motorcycle mechanic. He's a like high level Harley.
Yeah.
Certified master technician.
Fancy motorcycle guys.
And Pastor Tim recruited Freddie to lead our refreshment team.
Yes.
They've renamed it something better than refreshment. Hospitality team. They prepare coffee and teas and drinks and cookies and crackers and I don't know, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As a hospitality thing on Sundays. And Freddie is not the guy that I would have assumed would thrive like he's thriving.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it in Freddie that is his gift, but that identifies part of his gifting?
Yeah.
That there's this care and attention to detail to be able to fix motorcycles that affect someone's life or death.
Right.
But then he's able to do this really hospitable thing and is passionate about it.
Yeah.
What is it in Freddie that is his gift?
It's a dichotomy again.
Yes.
It's the toughness and the gentleness that comes together. There's a strength in him that is tough enough to work on motorcycles and to deal with motorcycle guys all day. But there is a compassion, a kindness, and a tenderness in him that you can't miss when you speak to him. Unless you weren't looking for it, unless you're only looking on the outside of Freddie and only saw him as a motorcycle guy. But I think what Tim's great at is seeing people deeply and their unique abilities and seeing in Freddie, oh, he has this care for people. And then what you said, attention to detail, that then he's able to take it to this whole other level that other people couldn't. And it's incredible to watch and see, because I'm like, he's killing it in this area. That is, what looks completely opposite to his daily life. Yeah. But man, it's incredible. Yeah. What? Yeah, I think it's super good. Who else do you think of? What other people? What? Stop.
I don't know. I feel like, are we running out? You're going to cut this. I'm like, are we running out of, I don't know where to go. I feel like.
No, I think that's great. Helping people identify, because I think that's the biggest struggle, is that it's, at least for me, it was the biggest struggle for me a long time, is to figure out how to admit what I am good, how to see what I'm good at, and then how to admit it. Like, I think for you,
how to see what you're,
I think for you, you've always been aware of you've always been confident in, like, this is what I'm good at. But for me, it was like, I'm just a loud lady. Like, it took me a long time to see it and admit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Set that up. And then I've got a story.
Okay. So for Freddie, the dichotomy of who he is, but what it took was being able to see what he's good at and then identifying it and actually running with it. And I think that's a struggle for a lot of us is to see, this is what I'm actually great at. And I think for you were always someone who, like, saw in yourself, I'm a great communicator. I'm good at with people and getting them on my team and being able to lead them with all those things. But I think for a lot of us, being able to see, for me, like, oh, this thing is what I'm good at. I'm not just loud for being loud's sake. This is actually a gift to, like, get people together and help lead them in a confident way. I think sometimes seeing and identifying what we're good at and then running in that is a struggle. It's hard.
It's hard to see what you're good at. And so I think to see what you're good at now, you have to look backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just telling the story to a guy at Open House, which is where we have all of our new people come in to become, to learn a bit about the church. And this guy's an engineer. And so he's telling me about how he's in engineering and what he does as his job and what he designs and all these things. And I'm like, man, you would be real good at math, huh? He said, yes. And I said, I used to want to be an architect.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I was all about it. I have a bunch of family in Chicago, so we would go and see the skyscrapers. So I want to be an architect. And in 5th grade, our school joined a thing that McDonald's was doing. It was called the McDonald's When I Grow Up program. I don't know if you ever had this in Oklahoma.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about, yes.
And so it was a speech contest. And so everybody in the school had to write a 5-minute speech about what they want to be when they grow up. So I wrote this 5-minute speech about how I want to be an architect.
Yeah.
And I won the speech contest in my class, and then in my grade, and then in my school, and then in my region. And then I got taken to, with my mom and dad, some statewide competition to give my speech about being an architect to win a statewide scholarship. Now I lost. Ready for this? I lost to a girl who wanted to be a horse trainer who also knew sign language.
Okay.
So she's doing her thing, doing sign language about riding horses.
Yeah.
So of course I lost to this girl. But in that I learned something.
Yep.
I learned, I learned I'm good at talking.
Right.
I'm good at communicating. I'm good at conveying a point in a short amount of time that makes people get behind it.
Yeah.
But you know what I learned as I went on? I'm not that good at math. Now, I'm good.
You are.
I'm fine. I'm fine at math, but I'm talking I'm talking engineer level, deep math, dude. I just couldn't pay attention long enough. And so, when I get into adulthood and I want to ask, okay, what am I going to be good at? What am I winning at? I kind of have to look backwards. And understand where I'm winning.
It's really good. It makes me think for me, in middle school, I was on the debate team.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Interrupting people everywhere.
I loved it. I loved giving my point of view and helping people see my point of view and not always agreeing with them, but having a educated conversation with different sides of the coin. And I think, if I didn't do that today, you and I couldn't work. We say it we argue with each other every day. Not really. But I'll give my opinion and you give yours, and we push each other into the right decision for what we're leading. But understanding, I enjoy arguing. It's not that I enjoy arguing, but I enjoy understanding all the details, presenting them in a great way that helps us understand and get to the right solution. You're right. It's a great thing. It's a great tool to look at and go, okay, where was I good? What did I enjoy? What made me, kind of excited to show up as a kid?
Yeah. Your husband, Aaron, is really good, maybe the best, at making whoever he's talking to feel like they're the most important person to him.
People think that he's their best friend all over the place.
Right.
Because he treats them
he checks in. Aaron checks in. He listens. He engages.
He remembers.
And it's not fake.
Right.
It's not him turning it on and be like, okay, I'm going to be Mr. Engaging. And because Aaron understands this about himself, it's one of the things that has brought him success in his line of work.
Yeah.
He's in airport management.
Right.
Aviation control, bigwig, wears a suit to work.
He's better at politics today.
Yeah.
Because he understands the relational and emotional dynamics that come from listening to them, hearing them, and talking.
But the advancements that he's had, I've got to imagine, are not just because he's good at being organized and emails and decision making, but it's because Aaron connects. He connects to the boss. He connects to the tenants. He connects. And these people, when they walk out of his office, they feel like they talk to a human, not a politician.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's his gift. And so he's realized along the way, I'm good at this. And I think that we just have to learn, because me and you have weird jobs.
Right.
I talk for a living. I preach. I'm literally have a microphone in front of me right now. It's not what a lot of people do, but there's other gifts that we have to identify.
But being his wife, what I can tell you is that first decade of his like career, or maybe probably the first 5 years for sure, he hadn't yet identified
Yeah,
that.
he doubted it.
And so he doubted it in himself. And so when he would get in a relational conflict, he would feel like the lesser than in the conversation. And it wasn't until he identified, actually, I have a gift of talking and connecting and listening, and I can help them see my side and their side, and we can come to what you said, like a great solution, and they can feel like I care about them, even if I'm telling them no. And once he clicked into that gear, that's when he was able to really find success. And you're right, we have to find the giftings, no matter what our jobs are. If you're a teacher, like the way you run your classroom and identifying that you're actually great and gifted at teaching small people how to do big things, it will bring you more success when you can identify what you're already successful, good at. Yeah, it's super good.
So look back, what are you good at? If you don't know, ask some people that love you.
Yeah.
And do some work figuring that out. Rachel and I had lunch with a young couple that are pastors. This is a couple years ago. And they were getting ready to plant a church. And so Rachel just asked the husband, so what is your preaching style? And the dude looked like he swallowed a canary. Is that the same? He didn't know.
Yeah.
And then his wife says something that is like not right at all. Like he's not preaching like this guy at all. And it just made me concerned for him because I was like, dude, you still don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
You're going to try to start this new thing and you haven't really identified. You're still just copying everybody else. And we've got to understand what we're gifted in.
Yeah, I always say that phrase that you have to know how you like your own eggs. There's that movie, Runaway Bride. She dates all these different guys and she just becomes like the guy she dates. And so throughout the movie, you find out that whatever guy she was dating, however he liked his eggs, that's how she liked her eggs. But it wasn't until she figured out how she liked her own eggs that she could figure out who she was and who she should marry and like, we have to know ourselves. And I think that sometimes it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to sit and to evaluate yourself. I think you have to be comfortable telling yourself what you're not good at, but then sitting and being able to admit what you are good at. And evaluating yourself is not always easy and not always fun, but it's necessary if we want to really step into it. And then I think having people around you who are willing to help you evaluate yourself is a big deal. Like if I didn't have you cheering me on in the things and speaking life into the things that I am good at, then there'd be a lot of times that I would question it and doubt it. If I didn't have my husband and Rachel, different people in my life that speak, no, you are good at this. This is what you're great at. You are called to this. There's times when we don't believe our own selves in what we're good at. And so we need that. We need community around us speaking life. And if people are only painting you in corners, you got to get out of those relationships.
Because what you're good at translates into other areas.
Absolutely.
You know, like if you're a creative person, that doesn't only mean you're creatively when it comes to being to drawing.
Right.
You're also creative in a ton of other avenues.
Absolutely.
But when you identify, I'm a creative, then now you can be confident in that. If you're not creative, then don't try. You have to hire creativity. You have to pull around you creative people. Right. If you're a driver motivated, then you're going to be driven and motivated everywhere. If you're not driven and motivated, then maybe you're not the person to be the lead. Maybe you're a support.
Right.
That's not a bad thing.
Right.
You
can be the greatest support. Right.
Be the greatest support. Like we have to understand what we naturally are.
Yeah. No, it's super good. I think it's an important piece in taking the next step to stepping into more. And until you do it, you're going to be stuck.
Okay. So do some homework, write out what you're winning at.
Yep.
What are you good at?
Yep.
What are your natural giftings? And then talk to somebody that really knows you.
Yeah.
That you know actually loves God and isn't a jerk. And say, hey, this is the areas that I think that I'm really gifted in. And then just start being confident in it.
And you're not allowed to say there's none. Like you're not allowed to say, silly. Oh, I don't have those. Yes, you do. We've all been given gifts and we've all been given things that we're just naturally born great at. And so identify it and then speak it and be bold and confident, because what you're actually doing is affirming God in you, affirming his gifts that he's given you. And so if you deny yourself that, then you're just shaming him, which is ridiculous.
We just had open house, and there's a lady in our church who's been coming for years. and she has got connected to help on the open house team.
Yeah.
And Whitney and I, at our last one, we started watching her and said, look at her coming out of her shell.
Yeah.
She's been coming here for years, but dude, she is leading and connecting and problem solving.
Right.
And like, I'm so proud that she's taking these steps. This lady's got to be in her mid 50s.
Yeah. And I've never seen her owning something like that before. And it's just been incredible to be like, oh, someone or yourself identified that you'd be great at this. And now look, you're just thriving and running.
Well, and you know what else happened? Is somebody else left the church.
Yeah, that's true too.
Somebody that she was connected to left.
Right.
And now that voice isn't putting her in a box anymore.
It's true.
And so now she's thriving.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. You're right.
And so this is not just for 20-year-olds. This is for everybody.
Yeah.
Find out what you're good at, believe in it, run in it. You got it.
That's good.
Go buy some blue jeans.
Some blue jeans.
If all you have is gray ones.
Yeah.
And when you get up from the chair and you look at your butt is too wide, don't worry about it.
Just keep going. You got this.
Guys, we love you so much.
Love y'all.
What we hope is that you will send us any question. Any question that you've got, we'd love to answer it, jump into it. Now, don't just think, oh, I have a good one without sending it.
Right.
Send it to us.
That's true.
We want to see it.
Bye. Love y'all.
Love
Bye.
you.
Bye.